Hi, welcome back. My name is Carson, and today we are knitting and chatting. So sit down, grab a drink, grab your project, or just sit down and chat with me, and let's get into it. So hi, I hope you've all been doing well. Today I am knitting on my project for the On Holiday with Hobbii make-along. If you watched my planning video, you will notice that I'm not knitting what I plan to, and there's a reason. So let's just start off by what I'm knitting. I'll show you. This is a bandana. I decided to knit a little accessory to go with the garment that I will make eventually because I can't read directions, and yeah, I had two major fails with the patterns that I casted on for this, and I worked on it for a few weeks, and then I realized I messed up, and so I said, you know what? I'm just gonna make a little bandana or something to go with this garment that I will eventually wear. So that's what we're working on today. And yeah, if I don't remember the pattern name, but I'll put it up here. It's a free pattern that I found on Ravelry. I can never say that. And I found it while frantically searching one night because I was so fed up with my own mushy brain that cannot comprehend things anymore. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make a bandana, and because I love bandanas, I wear them all the time. I found this pattern free on Ravelry. I did modify it a little bit, so the pattern, it's super simple, but the pattern, these little diamonds, I have been loving this little eyelet lacy pattern. I'm using it right now, or not using it, but I'm knitting it right now in my Easy Teasy. Still currently knitting that project. These are featured in that. They're featured in the socks I just made by This Handmade Life. What were those called? Honeycomb, wildflowers and honeycomb socks. Anyways, I love this little lacy pattern. So I did modify the pattern. These little lacy guys are right on top of each other in the original free pattern, but I wanted some space. So I just added enough rows in between so that whenever I started the lace pattern, I had enough to make another full flower or diamond, if that makes any sense. And I mean, I like it. It has a basic slip stitch border, and then it calls for garter stitch straps. But I decided to do I-cord, and that's what I'm gonna work on today. I'm gonna work on the I-cord and chat with y'all. Because I get kind of bored with I-cord, so maybe knitting and chatting will help me complete the task. But yeah, I will say, if you like the look of this, I would recommend, so Meredith from Mare Bear Made, I believe, I'll put her channel either up here or I'll link it down below. She is currently testing, as I film this, she is testing a bandana that has this lacy pattern, but it looks a lot more polished because they alternate. And I can't remember if the border's different. It's an I-cord strap. It just looks very polished. It is in DK weight. This is fingering. I modified this pattern pretty heavily just by using fingering weight yarn. I think it was DK for the original one. I'm using different needle sizes, so yeah. Maybe I'll actually update my Ravelry with what I did. But as I was saying, Meredith is currently testing a bandana that has this lacy motif, but it just looks a lot more polished in my opinion. So I casted this on a couple days and knit this entire thing in a weekend, I guess last weekend. And then she posted the test call for that bandana, and I was like, if you would have just been patient, Carson, and like waited a few more days, I mean, not that I would have gotten picked, who knows, but like I could have knit that bandana instead. Anyways, this is what I'm knitting on. It's a free pattern, heavily modified, and yeah, I do like it. It is very breezy. I am enjoying the fingermade cotton, and that's not just because this yarn was gifted, it was, and I appreciate that, but I do enjoy it, and I'm not sure why. I think it's because it's fingering weight, so it's not quite as heavy as the other cottons I worked with, but it's also very soft, like it's not rough. Even whenever I was knitting on the tank top and I had quite a bit done, I I like put it on, gosh, I put it on I have these like, it's not a wire, it's like a, gosh, why can't I think of the word? It's basically something you attach to your needles so that you can either expand your project or take it off the needles easily. I don't know what it's called. It's plastic. It's basically like a needle cable, like a cable, yeah. So I took it off and I just wanted to make sure that it was like stretchy, which surprisingly it was, even though I only had on half of the amount of stitches I was supposed to at that point. Did I even talk about that whole process? Do I want to? Did I even go into why that project didn't work? I'll talk about that on the next podcast. I can't remember if I did or not already. My brain, ooh. I haven't drank coffee yet. I should. So we'll see how this whole name chat goes. I'll talk about what I did very, very, very wrong in my next podcast if I haven't already. Yeah, I don't know. I can't recall. Anyways, so yeah, the yarn is stretchy and I really appreciate, I got a new one out. So this is the yarn I'm using. It's Friends Cotton 8.4 in the color Lemon Curd, which I am loving. And one of my favorite things about this, I felt so spoiled. I have a really hard time pulling out yarn ends, whether it's from the very beginning of the yarn hank or skein or what the heck ever, or in the middle. And Hobbii tags it for you. And it literally says easy start. Yeah, easy start. My mom brain appreciates that. Can you see this? Easy start. So you literally just find the tag and go for it. And I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm enjoying this yarn. I would use it again. And I am surprised. I was not sure how I feel about it because in the past I have not loved cotton, but I've also only used like DK or Stowaway cottons. So I like it. I like it. And since I'm using a larger needle size, I just pulled out a US size 6 and was like, I really don't care about my gauge because I can keep going on this bandana if it's too big or too small. It's one of those projects you can just go as long as you want. It's easy to adapt in that way. So that's what I'm knitting on today. Okay, this is like the 9th time I've sat down and reset. My camera keeps not recording and the battery died and it's going great so far. I have no idea what I've talked about already. I feel like I'm on limited time because Wilder is napping right now and once he wakes up, he's gonna be hangry. So we're just gonna make do today and try our best. We're gonna try our best. It has been really hard to sit down and film because I've just been so scrambled. Wilder, can't even say my own child's name. He's teething. He has 2 teeth and that's a lot. It's a lot to handle currently. What else is going on? Working is I don't mind working, but it's just a lot on top of mom life in general. I feel like I'm never cohesive. Like my brain is just still mush. So yeah, it's been tough. But it's okay. We're like I said, we're doing our best. We're making do. But yes, I will be wearing this bandana all summer. I am a huge fan of bandanas and I really want to restart. I think I am going to restart the tank top number 1 or get a longer needle and do camisole number 1. Not totally sure yet, but I'm not going to rush myself about making that decision because no good decisions are ever made in a crazy manic rush, at least for me. So yeah, I'm just sitting on this I-cord today. Let me know what you're knitting on in the comments below if I have not already asked that. And yeah, we are planning to go to the beach this summer. We actually live pretty close to the beach, but we just booked a little vacay, literally 45 minutes down the road. I guess a staycay, kinda, taking some days off work in August to go chill out at the beach. My parents are coming, my brother, his wife are coming. my grandma's coming. So we'll have lots of people to help us watch Wilder, and it'll be fun for him. It's different, like just going to the beach versus like on the weekend, packing up all your stuff is a different vibe, especially with a kid, than like staying somewhere closer to the beach and, you know, been able to just kind of walk to it and then be there again the next day. So I'm excited for that. I desperately need some time to recuperate and just mentally come back together. And yeah, I'm excited. So I will definitely be wearing this bandana there, and I'm hoping to finish a tank top, but I'm not gonna put pressure on myself. Let's see, I did ask for some questions on my last video, because who knows what the heck I would talk about if I had no questions. So maybe I will get into those. Someone did ask how I got into knitting and how it's kind of changed for me as I've continued knitting. And I've talked a little bit about how I got into it. Really, it was Logan, which is funny because that's exactly how I got into podcasting, was Logan. He got me a how to knit kit for Christmas the first year we moved to Washington. And I guess I should say this. I've always had a very strange pull toward yarn. Like even before I started knitting, I loved yarn, just like looking at yarn in craft stores. I just loved it. And I did teach myself how to weave. I made my own loom using like a picture frame and some nails one year during summer. And I bought a bunch of commercial yarn to weave with. And I weaved a little bit. I didn't like love weaving. I now have like a bigger loom, but I still don't use it that much at all, actually. So yeah, I don't really weave anymore, but I still loved yarn. And I don't know if you can tell, but I had a lot of anxiety. I won't go into it that much, my mental health journey. But that was another big reason Logan got me the knitting kit, because especially at that time in my life, there's a lot of change going on. I don't do very well with change, personally. I like things to stay the same, which is kind of funny because I also don't love routines. I don't know, very strange. But I was struggling. I'll say that, I was struggling back then. I still struggle. But especially at that point, I was struggling more. And so Logan kind of thought if I could learn how to knit, maybe that would help ground me. Like my mind would stop going every which way, so sporadic, so crazy, and I could like slow down and just like ground myself to knitting. And honestly, that's what knitting has been for me. Very grounding. Now, some of my anxiety does slip in with knitting, and I think I'll kind of cover like how it's changed for me, because I've definitely gotten to ruts, and I feel like everyone does at some point, where you see something and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to knit that, and then while you're knitting it, I personally get a lot of anxiety. I'm like, I have to finish it. There's like a weird rush all the time to finish stuff and produce a bunch of stuff. And I think I did give into that at the beginning, especially. I knit like a lot of people. I was drawn to the big bulky sweaters and stuff, and using like very bulky wool. And I don't do that anymore at all, mostly because it's just not practical. Honestly, even in Washington, whenever it was cold and snowing, that big thick wool was still too hot for me. I know. I know, crazy. But it was too hot for me, and I never really wore my like 100% wool stuff. I think I have one sweater that I like self-designed that was in bulky weight wool, and then I used Feeling Good but held double for a few projects. And although they look really nice and pretty, I did wear some of my, like I loved my sable sweater. But yeah, like I was just really into knitting so fast. Like, let's finish this project. And then that summer, especially, I knit a bralette out of Feeling Good yarn from Wool in the Gang. A bralette for the summer. And that yarn is like alpaca and wool and nylon. Does that sound practical to you? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I still see some like designs and stuff advertised, and it's like bralettes and super chunky wool, and I'm like, how and why? Maybe that's an unpopular knitting opinion. But yeah, so knitting now has definitely changed for me. I'm doing projects on smaller needles. It's going slower. I do still get caught up in the mindset of like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, like I have to finish this. Either, I guess whether it's like a test, actually test knitting, I have had to take a step back, I think, from test knitting. After not test knitting, I don't think I did it all while I was pregnant, and then I test knit the Corin cardigan. And I did enjoy the process, but like, with my anxiety comes procrastination. I'm one of those, and I don't know why. It's like if I have to do something, I don't want to do it. But then like anxiety kicks in, and then I'm still procrastinating. It's just like this cycle that's not good for me. So I need to take a step back from testing big, larger like garments. Because at this point in my life, I don't want to have a deadline, you know? And especially for gift knitting, even Logan's sweater has been giving me anxiety, which is kind of why I just stopped knitting on it, which I'm knitting on it now and I'm enjoying it and I'm glad. But yeah, my knitting has definitely changed. I try to knit slower, and especially over the past, I think, week since my whole debacle of the tank top #1 and camisole #1, what I was trying to knit with this yarn, and I just realized that I need to slow down still, like more, and at least set intentions maybe before I start knitting to be like, okay, this is a hobby. This is for fun. You do not have to be productive. You do not have to turn out like a ton of FOs for, God forbid, Instagram or something, you know? Like, I just feel as though social media really puts pressure on you to like finish stuff and show it off. And recently I'm just like, let's just have fun, girl. Let's just have a good time and knit when we want to knit and knit what brings us joy. I feel like that's been a theme of mine recently, like socks. I'm really loving socks, but you know what? If I get the urge to stop knitting socks, I'll just stop knitting socks and it'll be okay, you know? So yeah, I am much more intentional, not quite as, I can't say I'm not as project driven as I was, because I definitely am. I see stuff and I'm like, I want that, I could knit it, you know, and I do. But I'm trying to instill inside of me more process knitting, more the joy in the process knitting, because I mean, it's not like I hate knitting. I love knitting. I do it all the time. I love the repetitive motion. That's something that like I think I need mentally. Just like the repetitiveness of knitting and like doing the same thing over and over. I kind of thrive off of that. And yeah, I don't know. That's a long-winded answer, but that's kind of how my knitting's changed. And I think it's good. And I'm still striving to be more slow and intentional, because you don't have to produce, you know, all the things. You can be a knitter and like never finish a project, and that's okay. You can knit a scarf that's like 200 feet long if you want to, and that's okay. You're still a knitter, you know? So yeah, that's that. I think the same question asked something along the lines of like, what's something you avoid knitting? And I really like this question. #1, I kind of mentioned it, but like super bulky weight, things that just don't make sense for me personally, like super bulky wool bralette. No, thank you. No, thank you. But like as far as techniques and stuff, that's interesting. I have knit cables once. I did not finish the project though. I didn't mind the cables. I just didn't love using a needle, like a cable needle. I felt like, oh no. I can't tell if sometimes, maybe I-cord wasn't a good idea to do while I knit and chat, because I'm getting a little confused. Anyways, back on track. What was I saying? I don't remember. Oh, cables. I don't love having to use a cable needle because I am at a point in my life where I need my projects to be pretty versatile in terms of like, I can take them in the car, they can sit on my lap while I rock Wilder or something. I just don't love having a million tiny tools I have to use. That said, I don't like totally avoid cables. I'm just not sure I'm super drawn to the look of them either though. Let's see, what else? What else do I avoid? Seaming anything. I think that's why I really don't want to do tank top number 1 anymore. Even though, really, as I was looking at it, did I get into this? I don't know if I did or not. So I'm sorry if you're like, I'm confused, what are you talking about? I'll talk about it. We'll save that for next podcast. I'll talk about the whole debacle of why I'm knitting a bandana currently instead of a tank top. But yeah, seaming. I hate seaming. Like, hate it. Hate it. I guess I don't hate all seaming. I can do 3 needle bind off. Does that count as seaming? I enjoy that. That's fine. I think what I really hate is like, I don't mind the whip stitch, but I really do hate like horizontal, what is it called? Vertical seaming, horizontal seaming. I don't know. I hate having to take a big long piece of string and getting my gosh dang, what do you call that thing? Needle. Threading needle. Gosh, tapestry needle. That's what it's called. I hate getting big little pieces of string and tapestry needle and having to like count my stitches and then go up and down, up and down. My mind cannot handle that at this point in time. I had to seam Logan's sweater. I had to seam the hood on that thing. It does not look great, let me tell you. I don't even think I counted the stitches. I think I was just like, okay, we're going. We're getting this over with. We're going. And you know what? It looks okay. I mean, it doesn't look great. I think it'll block out. It doesn't bother me or him, so it'll be fine. But yeah, seaming is a big no-no for me. And maybe I shouldn't completely like avoid seaming. I don't know. I'm sure if I took the time to learn how to do it properly, then it wouldn't be so bad. But like, do I have that time? Do I want to spend my time seaming things? No, I do not. No, thank you. So yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't avoid vests, but I feel like they're not very practical for me. Maybe not practical, but they're not my style. And I would like for that to change because I see a lot of people wearing really cool vests and knitting cool vests. But for me, vests are just not something I like want to knit all the time. Or ever. In terms of will it fit my wardrobe, I guess. Ooh. My child is screaming. Sorry guys. I think I'm gonna have to go. This was probably a short knit chat, unless my camera actually recorded everything that I talked about before it stopped recording. I don't know, we'll find out. But yeah, thanks for tagging along. I got pretty far in the I-cords, that's good. I'm just gonna attach it to this guy and I'll show you this again. So yeah, I'm excited. I'll put my, if I finish it, I don't know if I will yet, but I'll at least put like the free pattern down there, but I will also link to Meredith's pattern because I think y'all might like that one too. It's, like I said, it's more polished than my modifications. But yeah, that's this guy. It'll go on my hair and I'm excited. I'm sure it'll be in the next podcast. And I'll save all the juicy what the heck happened to my tank tops for that podcast. But yeah, thank you Hobbii for gifting me this yarn. I'm super excited to be using it. I have quite a few more skeins. I probably have more left over even after I complete a sweater. So yeah, there we go. I'm gonna go feed my kid. But y'all have a good day and I guess I'll see y'all next time.